Oh God.
I don't know what my only crime is being happy. That's all I did.
I hate you. Holy shit, Danny.
Hi, hey, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to a Market Down production. All right, we're a tag team today, so take it from here, James. Do the rest of the intro.
Oh boy. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dynamite, where the Market Down podcast decides we like AEW some weeks, so we're going to talk about it pretty much every week. And this week, it was a show, right? It wasn't like the best show. It wasn't a bad show, but it existed on the TV airwaves.
Yes,
Is it still airwaves?
Right. Yeah, I think so. Airwaves. Airwaves sounds good to me. But yes, welcome to the Market Down Dynamite review. I am Daniel or Danny or not. I don't really like being called Dan, but I'm joined by James, Jimmy, Timothy, Jimbo, Jimbalaya, Timothy Jalmain. As many names, any one of them works.
Danimus, I appreciate all of that, but honestly, just there's one name for me, and that's supporting cast.
Yes, you are. Look, this isn't made. Okay, you're not the star of this show. You are just the supporting cast, and Chad and Rev could not be here because it's a bottle episode, and we have less characters, so we can focus more on the story, which
a lot of development for us.
Yeah, which wasn't necessarily the case with AEW Dynamite, but there was bits and pieces of story development, and we'll get into them. Do you want to just start from the top? I feel like there's nothing that outstanding that we need to,
I'd agree. I feel like I'll just say it now. I feel like the entire episode sort of maintained at like a base level of enjoyment. Like there was some really good parts, nothing really dipped, but nothing really like, oh my God either, you know? So,
yeah, like I don't know have you guys ever been to in general, you guys ever been to like a Six Flags? You go on a roller coaster, you have a lot of ups and downs, twists and turns, suspense. This was more like when you take the skylift across the park and it's just going at one steady, horizontal pace. That's what this show was like, but maybe one or two bumps along the way, some turbulence, if you will. But the show started with Orange Cassidy, the best champion in all of wrestling, the best champion with the Superman punch in all of wrestling, facing Bandido in a match that, I'm not going to lie, wasn't my favorite of Orange Cassidy's fucking 20 amazing title defenses. But I did become a fan of Bandido in the post-match this match in particular.
If we gained anything from this match, it wasn't the match itself. It was the 2-second segment they followed it. Just beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. But the match was good. Bro, Bandido, how are you going to do a pop-up RKO as a non-finisher, bro? Chill the fuck out, okay?
I mean, to be fair to Bandido, he missed it. He missed the RKO, so I'm glad he didn't get the pin. That would have been awful.
Oh, that's true.
Like,
that's true.
We do sometimes, like, we don't give Randy the roses he deserves sometimes just because there were so many periods of bleh. All right, you do. But it really shows how good this man is when he hit. I don't think he's ever actually missed that RKO, no matter how wild the spot. So good for him.
Yeah, real quick. Hello to to Jinx, to Jay. Welcome. And Rick, I believe it is in there. What's up, guys? You guys chilling? They're already debating about Jade. That's great. We'll get to that.
We're getting there, guys. We'll get there. We'll get there.
But this match had a lot of spots, a lot of good stuff. Cassidy is the best. I say it jokingly and somewhat ironically, but God, he's so freaking good. I love this segment so much. And I almost would have forgotten about it, but this was just a highlight. There's this kind of stuff that I feel like
Guys,
sometimes is catered to me. Where Orange Cassidy goes up to Renee backstage after and is like, "Hey, Renee, you gonna ask me about the
Guys,
match right here for an interview?" She's like, "Oh no, I was actually talking to these guys," and he's like, walks away. Perfect Orange Cassidy segment. But the match itself, what did you think about the match, James?
I'm actually going to disagree with you a little bit. That I don't know. I don't think this is my favorite of his defenses, but I loved the dynamic of it. We've seen basically with every defense, Orange having to basically outsmart his opponent and almost survive his opponent, and we got that again here. And Orange is mastering the ability of making me believe he could lose it. I went into tonight almost 100%. There's no way Orange Cassidy is losing. Like, Orange Cassidy isn't gonna have this reign and just randomly lose the title. And yet, I'm watching this match and I'm like, holy crap, Bandido, Mr. NXT himself, is going to take the TNT, oh, not the TNT, the Intercontinental National Breakfast title. And bravo to both men for making me believe it. Genuinely, they hit their spots beautifully. Bandido is fantastic. He just is. The shame is we don't see him as often as we should, and that's a lot of that is, I think, his schedule. I'm not entirely sure how it's working, but great match, great back and forth between these guys, and is Bandido going to be joining the Best Friends group? I don't know. He was partnering up with him the rest of the night. We'll get into that later, but I really enjoyed the match.
I don't think he's going to join as much as he's going to be like Sammy and MJF. Like, Sammy's a part of the Inner Circle, but he's kind of buddying with MJF right now. But real quick, thank you, Jay, for the kind words. And yeah, that's going to be Orange Cassidy next week, is the star carrying 3 other people in that match. But you're John Blattner in the house. What's up?
Love you, Ryan.
Ryan Fredericks, what's up, man? Man, you sound like a supporting cast member with that name. What's up?
He is the star of our D&D story.
Oh, that's cool. I don't want to make. I mean, I really want to make fun of it, but not in like a that's lame way. And now that I know more details, I want to elaborate on making fun of.
Fair enough.
But it was cool. I think they're gonna just be a little quick mini team, and it's just gonna be a couple fun segments after we had the fun segment afterwards. Do you want to tell us what happened after this, or do you want to add more to this conversation?
You mean just what the follow up with the sunglasses, or more?
I mean, like after Orange Cassidy Bandido stuff. I think the sunglasses stuff was great. Bandido botched it though. He couldn't keep a pair of sunglasses on. Way to go. You know what? Actually, I did want to say about this was that Orange Cassidy is so good, man. He is making stars left and right. He is carrying the show on his freaking back, and he is the best champion in all of wrestling, hands down. I don't know who's the world champion, New Japan right now.
Sonata.
Yeah, good luck, buddy. You don't hold a candle to Orange Cassidy right now. Dude is 20 title defenses in. He's carrying it. And Bandido, this was your one-shot kid. And you know what? You did okay. Maybe practice a bit more. Give it a few more years, and maybe you'll make something of yourself, especially after you got the little stamp of approval from Orange Cassidy after. But, good effort, Squirt. Maybe next time.
I would love if one of our commentees or our producer boy could look this up. How many title defenses does Orange Cassidy have in relation to like Gunther or even Roman? I would love to find that out. I
think he has more than Roman. I think he has more than both. Everyone's talking about how great Gunther's title reign is, and I agree, but like, he did not defend it that much after he first won it. He's pretty much only defended it against Sheamus for 8 months. And it's been great. But there was a long gap where he wasn't around, especially when Vince was going to bury him,
Yeah.
Like if there's one guy who's like almost like the Hannibal Buress to Bill Cosby sort of benefactor from the Vince McMahon situation.
Jesus Christ.
It's Gunther. I know this doesn't make complete sense because Gunther didn't blow the whistle on him or anything, but you know. So Orange Cassidy is the freaking best.
27 for Roman.
Okay,
and Orange is close to it.
Almost 3 years.
No, that's my point. That's my point. Like, holy crap, good for you, Orange Cassidy.
Oh
wow.
My God. Yeah, and you know what's crazy is that probably 19 of Roman's title defenses were in the first year and a half, and not this past year and change. How many? It doesn't say.
It doesn't say. It just says how long. I'm sure we could find it out, but like it's still.
Yeah, it's still not too much, but yeah, best champion in wrestling. But what happened after this match in this segment? What happened after the Orange Cassidy Bandido?
Well, we do need to acknowledge. We talked about it a little bit for the Orange side of it, but Renee Paquette was interviewing Adam Cole, saying that he was going to go to the ring and call out Chris Jericho, and that if Jericho didn't come out, he was going to go find Jericho. And we'll get to that part later, but that's what was directly next. And then afterwards, we had that's a great question, a backstage segment between Darby Allin and he's still figuring out how to speak Jungle Jack Perry.
I actually kind of like this. I thought it was a fun segment. I think it continues to show how charismatic Darby actually is, and how people I guess underrated him on the mic or wrote him off too quickly. I think the best way to put it. Because you know what, he talks like he has a perfect combination of being able to speak like a wrestler or like an artistic person should speak, but also still sounding like a normal person. And he pretty much said to Jungle Boy, like, hey, you know what? Maybe we took it too far last week and we should respect each other. And I think what happened to you last week is bullshit. And basically, in a borderline conceited way, said, hey, isn't one of those guys a criminal?
He's trying to be. He's really trying to be.
You know, you're going to have my back out there. He kind of like punked him, was like, you're a little bitch and you're going to watch my back out there, which is how I would approach getting someone like Jungle Boy to help me. So I could appreciate that from Darby. But I thought it was a pretty good, solid, short little segment.
Yeah, no, it's showing who they are, and I think that's very important as opposed to just being, I want the title, I want the title. They're showing who Darby Allin is. They're showing who Jungle Boy is, his true colors as a heel. And yeah, I'm still not sold on Jack's ability to cut a promo, but this is moving the story in the right direction.
I mean, he's doing okay. I mean, because it's easier when you're a heel, and it's easier to just cut promos when you're a heel. It's just out and out. But you know, I think that's all we have for that. Afterwards, we got to talk about a match that I didn't know was happening, and I don't know how I feel about it. So I guess I'm just going to talk about it and see how I feel. We had Dax Harwood.
I loved it. I loved the outcome. It made me so happy.
Dax Harwood versus Jeff. Is it because the babyface won?
Absolutely.
Bro, if there's one, can we, forget going into the details of what happens in matches. I just want to start immediately throwing out opinions. AEW, specifically AEW Jeff Jarrett, not TNA Jeff Jarrett, not WCW Jeff Jarrett, not WWE Jeff Jarrett. AEW Jeff Jarrett is freaking awesome.
He absolutely is.
It's amazing. It blows my mind. Dude is literally on TV almost every week, and I'm not annoyed about it. I'm not like, why? He's not like The Firm. He's not like fucking all these other groups that are blending together for me. It's like, oh, dude's out here putting people over. And guess what? He finally wins a match, and it's against a tag team wrestler in a singles match with that. And of course, these two would make so much sense on paper. Even though I didn't know this was happening, I'm like, oh, this makes perfect sense. It's an old school wrestler versus whatever the fuck Dax identifies as, because he's, for two guys who claim to be old school wrestlers. They're fucking not, bro. What? You're wrestling the Briscoes in some of the bloodiest matches ever. And you're
That
wrestling
makes
the
me.
AEW style.
That made me so uncomfortable.
I didn't. Was that from something, or did he make that
It was
himself?
Splinter. It was Master Splinter. But why?
Who the hell is that? The fuck is Master Splinter? Isn't that a
Oh,
video
gosh.
game, Splinter Cell?
I
But
guess you're not wrong.
yeah, so this match was fun. There was some, a lot of old school stuff like all the lockups, and then Dax doing a very Dusty like striking sequence. It was fun. It had its spots, but ultimately the heels won because where was Dash? Where was Dash to help Dawson?
They made a point of it when the match started that as Jarrett's coming out with the slap nuts, multiple referees stop them from coming out, and they're forced to stay in the back. And in turn, FTR Hair just stayed back himself. He hugged Baldy and let him go out, and that was it. And then Sanjay Dutt, being that rapscallion that he is, ran out a little too fast for Hair to come out, and it cost Baldy the match. That was a very wait, he might write it to him. That was good. This was a very TNA ending, and I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't mind it either, honestly.
I didn't mind it.
There's something about it's because he's wrestling so often, and he's putting people over so frequently that it's like, oh yeah, he's actually come around. I think he's won a lot of goodwill in the fans' eyes. And then he had some goodwill for the TNA fans like yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
I think a lot of it too had to do with how well, and you've said this in the past, how well he handled the Acclaimed situation.
Yeah.
And how not only how much they were able to put over on him, but the fact that he didn't come across as like a bitter little bitch about it.
Yeah.
Everything was, he really, I think, got in a lot of people's good graces because of that specifically.
Yeah, he definitely did. And we really thought, Adolescent Oddity Karate Toads. Thank you, John Blatner. I didn't know who that was. I appreciate it, bro. One thing, when John Blatner is like a fact checker, if like you bring something up, he almost has some sort of fact or detail about it to share. So he's very helpful in that regard. He is my main man for stuff I don't know about. Was not a fan of that. Why not? It was all right. It was fun. But yeah, interesting stuff. I guess we're gonna get Jarrett and Lethal versus FTR, and you know what? Fuck it. Hey, they had a great match with the Acclaim for the tag titles. You might as well do that too. And I'm kind of rooting for them because, I love FTR, but when Dax came out and I saw him with the tag title, all I could think of was there's no reason the title should ever been taken off the Acclaimed. I know, like, I've already said this 100 times, but all I can think of is like, man, they were so white hot still and so over, and it just didn't make sense. It didn't have to be this way, but whatever. Fun match. The right person won. The singles wrestler beat the tag wrestler. And I'm sure Dax loved this. I'm sure this was like something Dax wanted to do. So cool. Good on them. Maybe we'll get Lethal versus Cash next week or something.
I'm more interested in where the Mark Briscoe of it all falls into it, because that's really what this feud started as.
Well, they'll be in a shark cage, And
right,
you know what? I know that sounds bad, but if Jeff Jarrett's involved, I feel like it might be good.
Yeah. And I think if anybody could sell the absurdity of it, it is Mark Briscoe. So you sold me on something that I thought you were genuinely was joking about. But now
I was, but I said it. And I'm like, you know what?
Why not?
Yeah. mix it up, do something fun.
Oh boy.
Do you have anything else on this, or do you want to talk about what happened next?
Nah, I'm just glad the good guy won.
There we go. Tony Khan announced the Owen Hart's coming back, and it's going to happen in Canada, which, cool. I don't really have much to say about it. I don't have any jokes particularly, and I don't have any genuine sentiment either. So what about you? Do you have anything?
I, for one, am super glad that Tony had the foresight, the care and understanding to let us know when the next tournament would be on the same night that the current tournament is ending, just in case we thought we would go too long without a tournament in AEW. It's quite honestly, like, I've never felt so cared for by an owner of a company. He gets it.
I mean, I think we all love when people running companies make announcements, and I'm glad this weekly tradition is keeping up. I am so excited to see whatever they announce on Monday, which they haven't announced an announcement, but these announcements, they come left and right. So, we'll see. I'll take that. Cash in Willow. Why not? Sure.
I think we need faces to win. Willow obviously would be a face for the women's division. I feel like we need a face for the men's division because we had a heel last year in Adam Cole. But it also means nothing because this is a meaningless. I like tournaments. Like, I know I was being silly before. I actually do like tournaments, but this is a tournament that has no meaning. You don't get anything from winning. You get the belt, but like, you're not getting a title shot or anything. It's just, I won a tournament. So I guess it doesn't even matter if a good guy wins or if a bad guy wins. In my mind, Jay White is the guy I have winning it.
I agree with JL that Canada crowds are better than USA crowds. They got us beat there. I mean, we live in one of the cities that can at least give them a run for their money, but we haven't been as good lately.
We haven't gotten anything as good. Like, we haven't had a reason to be good. True.
Yeah, but still, Canada, even with the bad show, is usually a really, really good crowd. But yeah, that's cool. The Owen Hart, but I feel like it ruined the luster on a few people last year, so I hope it doesn't do the same thing this year. Wardlow squashed a jobber. Doesn't matter.
Shocking.
After the match, Arn Anderson cut a promo, and oh boy, I zoned out so much during this. I tried not to. I'm so sorry, Arn. But
I was able to keep up with it, but it was hard. I don't know why they thought letting the guy from the Four Horsemen, who is known for not being able to cut a promo, like, consistently. Like,
yeah.
Ugh. I like Arn. Let me put that out there. I like Arn. But he was talking about putting your fingers in people's mouths, popping eyes out, biting stuff. Why?
I don't know. I want to make a meme with Arn where it's that part in Trapped in the Closet or the parody of Trapped in the Closet. I don't remember if it's the real one or the next one where he's like, and then I pull out my gun. And I just want to do that for Arn. But that was an idea I just had now. So producer boy, make a note of that so I can remember that for later. But after the Arn promo, Christian comes out. The crowd pops pretty hard for Christian and Luchasaurus. So, they are clearly the favorites here. And I'm really upset that we had to sit through an Arn promo and that we didn't get a fucking Christian promo. Like, bro.
I know.
Like, come on, man. Wardlow's dad is freaking dead, bro. You got to get to work, Christian. Like,
you can't do it too fast, though. You gotta
do it while the body's still warm, bro. What are you talking about?
God.
No time like the present, That's a joke for producer boy, but you gotta strike while the iron, or in this case, body is hot. Like, you gotta do it. All right. How's he gonna roll over in his grave if you're not shaking the ground a little bit?
Goodness gracious.
This is nothing compared to what my boy Christian is gonna do. So, like, Wardlow, as bad as they fucked up Wardlow, Christian's gonna finish the job, man. Like I know he got buried alive in that match, but man, he's gonna fucking bury this guy so badly with one promo, and it's over for Wardlow. So this was a disappointment because I really wanted to hear the promo from Christian, but I guess we got to stall for time so that Wardlow's reign isn't 8 days long. But yeah, disappointment. What happened after that, James?
After that, we had, I don't know, but I will know in 1 second.
Sure.
We had Christian Cage. We had a backstage interview with Renee and Sammy Guevara, who was interrupted by MJF, AEW World Champion MJF. The men had, it was such a bizarre but fun segment where they were just showing each other all the love, kissing each other on the forehead, gifting each other. Sammy gave MJF a vest. MJF gave Sammy a scarf, and they don't care that it's gonna disrupt the sanctity of the world title match main event pay-per-view segment. They don't care because Sammy's getting a fat paycheck, and MJF gets to continue his reign of terror, as he calls it. If this was being handled by anyone else, like if any two other wrestlers were doing this, I don't think this would be as fun as it is. But these two are hamming it up so well that I'm enjoying it. What about you?
100%, 100% agree with you right there. And I keep thinking every time they're on screen together, like it's so much funnier because of the inner circle stuff.
Absolutely.
Literally, the one guy who never trusted MJF is now just like, oh my god, money! That's all you had to do this whole time is give me money, and boom. Like it was so like he worked so hard. And it's like, bro, all you had to do is literally open the checkbook. So that always makes it a little extra funny to me. And I'm very, very into this. It's hilarious. It almost makes up for the weird booking of how we're getting to the 4-way, but it has been really, really fun. I was a big fan of that. And then we had another backstage segment after that where RJ City made his AEW Dynamite debut, and it didn't last too long. He got beat up by the Blackpool Combat Club. But it's really not super heelish when you think about it. Moxley is just doesn't want anyone going for his wife's job, so he's taking out all the competition. Marvez is next, and it's like understandable, you kick him out.
I swear to you, I was actually in my mind thinking, how are they going to justify this? Because it's so canon that RJ and Renee are friends. Like that is just AEW canon at this point. But no, that's a beautiful explanation, and I love that. Oh man,
I see them more as frenemies. But
is that it? Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. I don't know if they have any. Is Dasha still there? Because she might be in danger. But
she's been doing Ring of Honor a little bit more though, from what I've seen.
Smart move. She's safe there. But yeah, RJ's great. I'm glad he did it. And they just basically, Mox got a promo and said, I think we're going to murder someone later or something. He didn't say much, which is, not very typical for a Mox promo.
And then he just started to spontaneously just like bleed. Like just out of nowhere, his blood started to flow.
Yeah, man, he really brings a whole new meaning to like seeing red. He takes it way too literally. But weirdly enough, we had the match I thought should have main evented the show and thought would main event the show.
Yeah, I agree.
Up next, and it was Darby Allin versus. Yes, you have a note.
No. I given the finish, I'm glad it didn't main event.
Oh no, I still think it should.
Think so? Really? Okay.
Yeah, the main event was like nothing, But
I wouldn't have had the main event be the main event either. But I'd rather send the crowd home with a finish and a story progression than just what we got. Which it was a fine match. It was a good match, but the end.
Yeah. So it was Darby Allin versus Samuel Guevara, and it was a fun match. These two have amazing chemistry. But this was a toned down version of what they've done in the past and what they will do in the future. And that being said, Sammy still hit a fucking 630 from to the outside through a table on Darby. So, toned down is a bit of a stretch, but this was really, really fun. And the ending came where MJF, who was on commentary the whole time, was fantastic, by the way, eating pickles, and basically got offered Taz a pickle, and who asked the other commentators, "Do you have a fork, bro?" Because they asked the Blackpool Combat Club. They have a screwdriver. It's at least you kind of use it like a fork.
And I get where Taz is coming from. You don't want to put your fingers in another man's pickle jar. It's an uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah, it is. It is. It. Seeing Red Again by Chevelle should be a Mox new theme song. I know who Chevelle is. I don't know that particular song, but fuck it. Yeah, why not? Right? I can't think of a song with blood in the title right now that I know off the top of my head. But it was funny shit with the pickles on commentary. And God, I love MJF's. I love everyone's interactions with Shivani. I love that he's so willing to be a punching bag for these guys. Yeah, he gives it back. So, it's not like he's completely just taking it. But
and when he does give the zingers back, it just feels so much better because of how much he takes. It is really good.
The hardest part about Adam Cole being a face is Tony Schiavone, and their relationship. But so this match, funny enough, Alan was doing a lot of headlocks, side headlocks and headlock takeovers in the beginning, which, him and MJF have that history of that. So he was making a big deal of it on commentary. But ultimately, to just jump to the finish, MJF started to get involved. He tossed Darby his skateboard, and Sammy did the Eddie Guerrero, and Darby got DQ'd for what is only the third DQ in AEW history, maybe fourth at a push, but I think it's third. And Sammy got the win, and he's going to main event Double or Nothing against MJF for the world title, where he's just going to lay it down. So awesome, cool. We have our main event for the pay-per-view. It's going to be a singles match that we didn't see coming, heels versus heels, but now friends versus friend. So they have that dynamic of, oh no, we've watched this friendship blossom and develop, and now they're going to fight. We don't want that. Will Sammy lay down for MJF? So are you excited for the main event of Double or Nothing?
I not since Kenny and Hangman has there been such a beautifully developed story between two friends, two rivals, two peers, and what a time to be an AEW fan. What a time.
I mean, it is an interesting time with the, potential returns and everything going on. But in all honesty, for some reason, Shivani got an email from the anonymous Dynamite general manager telling him that there was going to be a tag match next week, and if the heels win, it's still a singles match, and if the faces win, it's a fatal 4-way match. And the contrived nature of this aside, I'm a fan of this tag match next week, and I'm more of a fan of it because it is a how can they coexist match, which I know is taboo in wrestling nowadays, but there's stakes to it. There's a reason for them to want to coexist. It's not that they already have the match and they're having this tag match. Sounds like genuinely is why. It's not how will they coexist, it's why bother to coexist, because the match means nothing. The match means something now. It's a rare use of a DQ, so I'm actually okay with it in this circumstance, because you don't want to pin either guy at this point. You pin Jungle Boy because who gives a fuck? He's a jabroni, and he's a heel. You don't pin Sammy yet because he's going to take the pin in the match, and you don't pin Darby at all because you're protecting Darby because he's proven to be the second biggest star out of the four of these guys. So I'm actually a fan of it. Not in the moment, it wasn't enjoyable per se. But I am okay with the DQ, and I think it actually makes some semblance of sense. And yeah, I'm just excited we're getting to the Fatal 4-Way, even if we've gotten there in a sort of weird way. Just why does this have to be a tournament? You know, that's really the biggest issue. But what do you think of the match and everything?
The match itself was fine. Again, like you nailed it. We've seen both of these guys deliver bigger and better, but it's hard to say this was bad when, again, we just saw 630 senton to the outside through a table. You know, they had good spots, and again, they're telling a very good story. These two guys, well, all four of them, but these two guys told a really good story. Darby really, like you said, going back to the headlock takeover, which was a great callback to his match with MJF. And we've all talked about how Darby versus any one of these guys at the pay-per-view wouldn't have felt like a strong pay-per-view main event, but the Fatal 4-Way just works. And you know, last week they did it, and this week they're doing it again, and they're going to do it again next week. They're all holding back until we can get to that match. And I'm very much looking forward to getting there. And speaking of the story, you know, progressing in a way that makes sense, we're already starting to see the cracks with Sammy and MJF. Which I was came back to
almost kind of devastated about, by the way. I was like, no, I don't want them to start fighting already. But
it's
yeah,
a bummer. It's a bummer. I am rooting for these two kids. They are getting interviewed. Well, Renee Paquette is trying to interview them, and MJF just goes on a tirade about how unfair Tony Khan has been with him since he's become champion, which is hilarious. And then as they're getting ready to leave, and like, what was it? Like, it wasn't a limo. It was
no, it was like a SUV. It was an SUV.
Yeah. Sammy tried to join him, and MJF said there's no room. And then I love that the camera just panned to the empty van with so much space in there.
Which I think lends some credence to MJF's, like, because no one shows him any respect. Like, he says something so heelish, the commentators call him out on it. He says it in an interview, the interviewer calls him out on it. Even the fucking cameraman's like, what? You're clearly lying. What are you talking about? It's so funny.
It was great. And I'm this is the stuff from MJF that I really like. And I know we've talked about it a lot in the past. MJF is, I think, one of the smartest heels we've gotten in a very, very long time. And we know that his potential is we haven't even really cracked it. So when he does these funny bits that are also just so dickish, that's what I love seeing from him. Like, I like when he can be ruthless too, don't get me wrong. But like these little things of like, oh yeah, the vat is full, and then it's just so clearly not. That's the smarmy prick that I want to see every week. You know, that's what brought him to the dance. And just more of that would be great.
Also, bro, Sammy, were you gonna leave in just your fucking trunks, bro? Like, you didn't even have a bag. Right. Like, what? Like,
Ty was clearly there too. He was just gonna leave Ty there.
Yeah, weird. You know, maybe he's the dick here. I don't know. Do you think if MJF and Sammy went to the beach together, they would be wearing Speedos and then take like very flattering pictures of each other, you know, like Tinder profile pictures for each other in a type of way?
The big question, yes. The big question is, would they rub the oil on each other? That's where the question starts. How committed are they?
I think they do. The question is, who's the creepier catcaller of the two? Is it
MJF? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you, but that is just such a hit the buzzer as soon as you know kind of question. It's absolutely MJF. He's the type who's he's gonna neg you throughout all of it. You know, Sammy's just gonna like give you the fuck me eyes, MJF is going to call you bad things and then like break you down until you want to be with him. It's very uncomfortable.
Or he's gonna hit on you and then like talk shit about you if you reject him. And be like, oh hey, what's up, beautiful? Yep. And then when she ignores him, he's gonna be like, oh fuck you, you ugly bitch. Like, you know.
Yep, absolutely.
That's the
absolutely
type of vibe here. Yeah, we're cutting you guys down to size, motherfuckers. But yeah, overall fun stuff. Like I said, I'm actually a fan of the DQ and back-to-back DQs. No, it was a count out last week. They're different things. The count out's even rarer in AEW.
Yeah.
So they're going balls because they don't want to pin anyone yet. You know, they don't want, which is fine. It's a very WWE thing, but not all WWE things are bad. Just a decent chunk of them. But I don't remember what happened after that, so I'm gonna scroll.
I can take it from here.
Okay, thank God. I'm gonna take a nap.
Adam Cole, baby, comes down to the ring just like he promised, and he is ready for a fight.
Oh my God! I'm so sorry. One last thing I wanted to say on the MJF Sammy stuff, which I wanted to say when you first mentioned the interview, that Renee's reaction to their shit was very, very funny. Like she would just like jump, be like, "Why are these guys so loud?" And then be like, "I can't believe they're saying this," and be annoyed. But then when the other one talk, would be like, "Okay," and then switch the mic back and forth. Very professional. Despite I love that the interviewers and the commentators react like that. But okay, Adam Cole, you were saying called out Chris Jericho.
Called out Chris Jericho like he said he would, ready for a fight, saying that he could understand coming out and confronting him. He could understand him and Garcia jumping him, but to orchestrate the assault that they did on Britt Baker with the Outcasts was unforgivable, and that was too far. And Adam Cole is ready to kick his ass. When Jericho doesn't come out, Adam is getting ready to leave the ring when Jericho pops up on the screen. Well, Judas plays first because, God forbid, that song doesn't play. And then Jericho pops up on the screen saying he doesn't want to be anywhere near a man like Adam Cole, a man who could just stand by watching his girlfriend get viciously assaulted. Adam Cole is a coward, according to Chris Jericho. And man, gaslighting 101. I love it.
He was talking about the lights out match. Like, how are you gonna just fucking not do anything? You're watching the love of your life be assaulted there. Where she was like bleeding ridiculously and fell in thumbtacks and
was Adam in the company at that point?
I don't know, but he was there for the cage match, and that was just like another version of that. So, maybe Jericho's got a point. Also, how are you going to be mad at a guy for it's the people your wife was already feuding with? So, like,
and I will say, as shitty as that was, yes, by the way, I'm going to be all over this. Bring it back up in a little bit, producer boy. As justifiably angry as Adam Cole is as to what happened to Britt Baker, I don't think there's a really good argument here that Jericho and the Outcasts orchestrated this when there's no reason to think that Britt would have come out or should have come out. Like, they had a gamble on the notion that Britt would come out. And maybe she would have because we know Adam Cole didn't have any friends in the company last week. But to say that they planned it ahead of time, it makes you look a little bit dumber, doesn't it? Like,
I mean, that's fine. I mean, aren't you a Batman fan?
Yes, I am.
And isn't The Dark Knight like one of the best superhero movies like of all time?
I'm very afraid of where this is going.
Didn't like 90%
on my back, so that's a double yes.
Yeah, didn't 90% of the Joker's plans depend on people doing things and reacting to certain things a certain way that he had no control over?
So it's what cost. It's why he lost in the end, though. That's the whole thing. He lost because of it. Like,
Yeah,
the
but like
bad guys won in this
the
situation.
cell phone and the stomach bomb, sort of thing. Like not just the big plans, but even the small parts of it, like that.
I mean,
a lot of it's
the guy was gonna blow up no matter what. It just so happened that he had an officer or two in there with him, but he was going to explode no matter what.
Yeah, it's a lot of his plans are just so happen, So
I really don't want to live in a world where Jericho is the Joker. Please, please.
I mean, I don't either. I'm just saying, but I do agree with you. I think it's funny. It would be funny if they had this plan and she never came out. And then we just get the video footage of the Outcast under the ring, like, I guess she's not coming. And they poke the head out every once in a while to Logan, like, oh, she's not there yet. Like, I guess it's not warranted. Maybe there's trouble in paradise. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't care about this that much. It was fine. I didn't care about this until the beatdown happened, and who should make the save? Orange, Cassidy, and Bandido.
The beatdown being by the Jericho Appreciation Society, who Jericho sent down when he himself wouldn't come down. That's another little minor detail to the story.
Yeah. But the numbers caught up to them, which is bullshit, because Orange Cassidy is like so far, like he's worth all of those guys times 3 combined. But him and Bandido come out, the new tag team sweeping the nation, and they try to make the save, but they can't do it. But who should come out? This seems familiar. We got a bunch of baby faces getting beat down by a group of heels. Out comes a returning Jeff Hardy. Wrong week. Out comes a debuting Roderick Strong, straight out of where the fuck has he been, to make the save. I'm happy to see this. Now all I want is for Kyle O'Reilly to be okay, to get the real undisputed era in AEW at once. Turn the Elite back heel, fuck it, and get that match going. But I'm excited to see Roddy, and I feel like he was brought in a perfect way where it's not a debut where it's going to be like, oh, like it's a debut and then nothing happens. It's like, no, he's a debut and he's in a feud. He's slotted. He's not, there's no, like if he loses a match in 3 weeks, it's not going to be like, wow, like they're botching him. Yeah. Like, no, like he's a part player in this feud. It's okay. He's probably going to get pinned by Jericho in 3 weeks. Like, and you know what? Whatever. So I think it was not a perfect debut, but for what it is, a perfect debut.
I agree. I completely agree. And just to go back to Producer Boy's old tweet, I love that AEW and Tony Khan waited for Roderick Strong's contract with WWE and NXT to run out as opposed to just bringing back Bobby Fish. Because he was there. He's waiting for someone to take him. But Tony planned the story out to wait for another man's contract to end, where Roderick Strong has been sitting on the sidelines for months in WWE and NXT. They didn't do anything with him. He hasn't appeared on television in months and months, and he still made it to AEW before Bobby Fish made it back to AEW. You gotta love it. So very, very fun. I'm right with you. I am waiting for Kyle O'Reilly. When Adam Cole, I don't know if you saw, but they had a Twitter exchange over the last couple of days, Adam and Kyle, where Adam was just singing Kyle's praises and how much he missed him, and Kyle was returning the love back to him. And it really made me think, okay, maybe Kyle's back. Maybe Kyle's coming back sooner than we thought. But this Roderick swerve was beautiful. Very happy to have it. And whether or not they just stay a unit or they're just two guys who are friends, either way, this was a great way to debut him.
Oh, man, you know what I want is I want to see Kyle O'Reilly versus Orange Cassidy for the...
That would be great. But it specifically has to be cool Kyle from NXT, where he was dorky but fun. That's who it's got to be.
Yeah. So this was pretty cool. This actually, I don't want to say, like, I don't want to be too harsh on this feud right off the bat, but this was a positive uptick in this feud that has me more interested than I was last week.
Yeah.
Which is
Ooh,
cool.
one thing that I found interesting, the Orange Cassidy and Bandido save. They could have very easily, and I'm glad they did it just because I want them to move away from it. That could have been the Acclaimed. They've been feuding with the Appreciation Society for a few weeks now, specifically Parker and Daddy Magic, and they would have made a lot of sense here. And on some level, it would have been nice because we're getting them back on Dynamite again, but I really don't want them to get sucked into the Jericho vortex for a long period of time. So it was a very weird moment for me.
Yeah. To be on TV though.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. And some of Max's best raps have been against Jericho in particular. But it's interesting. I like that they at least Cassidy and Cole that stare down after, because they did feud, and it's not just like, oh well, you're babyface now, so it's cool. There's like so that'll be interesting to see them. But I like Cole has a lot of burnt bridges to try to mend. He's really, like I said, he's burnt a lot of bridges. He's really like a Mothman in that regard. But
he feuded with Cassidy back in the day, right?
Yeah, that was like for way too long. That's when he really started low blowing people, was against Cassidy all the time. And they had to make the intergender tag with Statlander and Britt. And then they had that, like, was it Last Man Standing? Or there's some sort of Falls Count Anywhere Last Man Standing match where Cassidy low blowed him finally, and they hugged him and they fell off the stage together. And that's how Cassidy finally got a win in the feud. So they feuded for a long, long time. But it was interesting stuff.
I feel like we got to acknowledge Producer Boy's tweets that, yes, Roderick Strong has been absent from WWE TV for several months, and they were mysteriously quiet about it. I can't remember the last time somebody left the company without the Future Endeavor tweet or comment of some sort. This was a very under-the-radar release or contract ending, and now debut. So very interesting time. I'm sure we're going to hear about it from a lot of the official sources soon, but I'm happy for Roderick. He's been wanting out for a very long time, and I'm glad that he's where he wants to be.
Yeah, good on you, Roddy. I can't wait to see you in the Owen, I guess. I don't know. We had a QTV segment next. I feel like Jay's not here, so if he's not here, I guess we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. But it was fine, and then Hobbs got all serious and killed the vibe, because he's upset. He's like, what the hell? Why am I a jobber just because I'm hanging out with a bunch of jobbers? I don't get that math. But QT's like, I'll fix it, man. I got friends in high places. He was talking about Cody, but after that, we had the TBS title match, which I thought was going to main event for a second. I still don't know what main evented.
Yeah. The follow up, I guess, like the story, like the post match, I guess. But again, not enough reason for it to have main evented.
Yeah. So Jade Cargill took on Taya Valkyrie. In a match where Taya could not use her finisher, but if she was smart, she would have just used Jade's finisher. That was a workaround right there. But the match was pretty good, and especially I don't want to say by Jade standards. That sounds like a little too harsh, but it's one of her better matches in a long while, because it was one of the most competitive ones in a while. So it was very fun, but the ending fell just a teensy bit flat for you and for most people. And I'm not saying I'm not one of those people. I'm just saying I don't really have an opinion on it. Where Taya went to hit the glam slam, as the move is known, or whatever Jazz called it. But she thought about it like, oh yeah, I can't use that. So then she just dropped her, and Jade had a really weak pin after that and rolled her up, and that was that. And after the match, Taya went to attack Aubrey and didn't do it. I wish she did, because that would have at least salvaged this, because people wouldn't talk about the ending. But yeah, it was kind of a weak ending, but Jade's still champ. No returns, no sight of what's next. It looks like this is going to continue. What did you love this, right? You said?
I really enjoyed the match. As I was watching it, I said this is Jade's best match, and I still think it is one of her better matches, but the ending really did sour it a little bit for me. I knew she was going to win, and I'm okay with her winning. I think Taya looked like a star here. I think she made Jade look better than she's looked in a long time, just because of how competitive the match was. But that ending was just so clunky, with Taya going for the finisher, realizing she can't hit the finisher, standing there until Jade rolls her up. And it was it felt very contrived to me, but it's fine. I'm interested to see where Taya goes from here, because attacking Aubrey could very easily get her a heel reaction, but I understand I understand the frustration she had, but hopefully she goes on a good path and she doesn't just get left behind. Sup, Navarro? Happy to have you, buddy. Hopefully she doesn't just get pushed to the wayside like a lot of the debuting talent do after they lose their first match. So we'll see what comes from it, and it has to be we're just waiting for Statlander, right? We just have to be at this point.
It fucking better be. Oh my god, I can't wait. I can't wait for that day. I wish it would come a little sooner, but injuries happen. But yeah, at least it was on TV. It got a decent amount of spotlight, like you said, and it felt more like a feud than a lot of her matches have. So good on her. Maybe we get one more match out of this where she wins definitively, because someone on Twitter that Producer Boy pointed out, it's like her first time winning without Jaded, so that's something.
Wow.
Okay, Wallflower Perry, you're 13, so I don't want to make fun of you, but fire is a strong word. But it was, I guess, if you're
comparing it had heat. It had heat to it, but it wasn't quite a flame.
Yeah, it was like a microwave. But that's pretty much it for that. I guess we'll see where it goes from there, or maybe we won't, because maybe it'll never be on Dynamite again, and it'll only be on Rampage. But, after that, I don't really care. You want to take it from here and talk about the main event?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had a little bit in between, just two small things in between. We had two backstage promos, Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter addressing the Outcasts and the beatdown Britt got last week, and Hayter.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, that was good. And, Hayter saying the only way this feud ends is if they put them in the morgue. And
can you say it like she said it, though?
I don't even know how she said it. How did she say it?
Well, just with an accent, because you just spent a lot of time.
I was in London for a while. You're going to have to put us in the morgue, governor.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
That's pretty close. Okay, so remember, I feel like last week, Producer Boy put up a tweet and someone was complaining that this feud is all about Britt and Jamie's the champ, and it's not about her. And I'm like, no, I mean, it is more about Britt, but it's because the feud is mostly between Saraya and Britt, and now the championship's being brought into it, but or has always kind of been around it. But this week, I actually kind of felt that, because before they threw to this interview, I could be wrong, but I swear they only said, and we're gonna go backstage to hear from Britt after a beatdown.
Did they really?
And then they cut, and it was both of them. And Jamie's arm is in a freaking sling, but it's only So that was where I'm like, oh, if that's the case, maybe they're onto something there. But I still thought it was a good promo from both of them, not just Britt. So that was good. I wish there was a little more of a follow-up, but I don't know what I wanted. So I guess this is fine too.
Where do you see it going in the long run? Because Hater could easily turn heel, but she has a lot of support. But Britt is also they're clearly positioning her to be a big baby face in the company. Like, they're showing All Access right now. They're really trying to paint Britt as a baby face, as a likable person, despite just being absolutely hateful towards Thunder Rosa. But even then, we know that's all storyline. But I don't know where you go. I don't know, because the dissension, we've been expecting it for, at this point, I feel like years. Like, years we've been waiting for them to split up.
I mean, I think they've missed the boat on it, and I feel like you can't even do it now. Like, I think you have to, as stupid as it sounds, wait even longer, because the ship has sailed and it's got to fucking, come back around at some point. But I mean, I think, and this might not be the most popular thing, but Saraya's got to win the title. Like, someone in the Outcast has to win the title. They can't they can't lose like the whole.
They can't be Damage Control.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to say that, but yeah,
because it's depressing.
Yeah, it is. But they need to win the feud. So one of them Tony's already done it. I would love if it was Ruby. I would also love if it was Saraya. But you put it on Saraya because she's a bigger star. She has like some sort of mainstream value. Like you got to do it. Then why? There's no downside whatsoever to putting it on her. And Jamie can't be a champ forever, so it's fine that it's gonna end. It's been 6 months. That's a good amount of time.
It's just gonna suck to have 2 women heel champions.
That's not that big a deal. Who cares? I actually don't know it's hard to keep track with the TNT title, so I can't compare the men's division right now, but it's not that big a deal. But I see it ultimately leading to at least one more person coming in to join the Outsiders, and at least some sort of big blow-off match, like a blood and guts. But I do think the title changes hands as a result of this, because otherwise, who's going to beat Jamie? There's no one to do it, especially if, not that she would beat Jamie anyway, because face for face, but Statlander's going to be the one to beat Jade. Jade could beat Hater, but I don't, we don't know when any of that would or could happen. So with what we have now, you put it on Saraya because she's a star, and it's fine. It's not like, she's not. It's like if Sting or Jarrett was beating someone where it's like, bro, you're, at your age, you shouldn't be winning the titles. Like, Saraya's our age, so she can totally win the title. What else happened backstage? Oh, the Bullet Club hype package.
That's fine. I still think what's his name, Spears, is going to be turning on Starks, and he's joining Bullet Club Gold, but we'll see. Answering.
I'm gonna real quick side note with Navarro here. So as far as how the title looks, I kind of like it. I don't mind. I actually never minded the modern WWE title design at all. I don't love it, but I also, it's not that bad, guys. Grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
But it looks like a weird combination of the World Heavyweight title and the WWE title, but it still looks good. But there's something about it that I have to think about it for a second. When I look, I'm like, okay, it looks good, but I have to think about it at first. But it shouldn't exist. It should not exist. We will maybe have an episode where we talk about it, but it is a consolation prize no matter how you fucking slice it. That means give it to Seth Rollins, but and he'll try his fucking best to make it mean something. But this is hard proof that Cody should have won at Mania, because then you can just split. There is barely any backlash if Cody wins and then they split titles. There's
agree.
barely any backlash whatsoever.
I agree.
Besides the pay-per-view, there's no backlash. And now we're in a position where it's the worst case scenario. Everything is so much worse. Bro, the story never ends. No, apparently it doesn't, and you're just starting a new book. Like, what the fuck?
We doomsday planned a little bit. Like, what are the bad scenarios that they could hit us with? And this was somehow the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
They managed to hit below rock bottom. And if I may, speaking on how the belt looks, I spoke to somebody today who told me that they thought that the new belt looked like the Intercontinental title, like Mega Evolved. And I can see it. I do see it. But I'm right there with you, Danny, on just how bad a decision this was. I have been a proponent of going back to the 2 title system for a while, especially if they're going to be strict with the brand split, which we'll see. But to do 2 titles before Roman loses his title, the wrestlers themselves are in a way acknowledging this as a consolation prize. I think it was like Karrion Kross, who was on Twitter, and he said, that World Heavyweight title is my destiny. I will win it. I will get it. That said, whoever beats Roman Reigns, that's going to be a legendary finish to that title reign, and that is something I want to look into. You're already saying, as sure, this is a title, I'd like to win it, but I'd still rather beat Roman. You're already saying that this is the second place title.
100% is, and that being said, Karrion Kross, you're never going to win either title, but you know.
But the message, doesn't matter who the messenger was. The message is right. I would rather beat Roman than be the first champion of this.
Yeah, and you know what? It somehow made me care less about both. I'm like, I don't care what. I care so much less about who beats Roman now, which makes me care about the other title less because I'm like, well, what matters? Like, I don't. It's just read the room, bro. Like, how can you think this was a good time for this? Have a floating champ. If you beat Roman, you can have the one champ and have him float, or you can split the titles. Either way, you do it without any backlash from the fans.
I think there's one way that they could salvage this, and I don't think they're going to. Unless the backlash is tremendous, and I think the reaction that they got on Monday gave them a false sense of security, because you see Triple H's reaction to the crowd's reaction was happy. But I think the only way you could salvage this is if Roman inserts himself into how they make this new champion and becomes the inaugural champion of it, or Money in the Bank it and getting it. I think no matter what, the only way to salvage it is to get it to Roman. But we could. This was just extra steps when they could have put it on Cody at Mania, and nobody can convince me that was a good decision at this point. Nobody. So
yeah, it wasn't a good decision. Everyone is dumb, apparently, and they. I just don't understand, because now it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who beats Roman now, because who the fuck cares? I care so much less now.
Yep.
Because you're literally saying, we don't want to do it. So, like, here's something else in the meantime. Here's something to hold you over. And it's like, bro, okay, maybe I'll just end up caring. Like, maybe this will hold me over to the point where I don't care about Roman anymore. Because now the stakes are so much lower. I don't care as much because I know this title will produce better matches because I'm sick of Roman's matches.
I agree.
Like, for every Sami Zayn one, there's the Brock Lesnar ones. Like, you know, there's the Goldberg ones. There's I can't even think because there's so few, and I have to think back so far.
The Finn Balor bullshit ending ones.
Yeah. So it's bad. Thanks a lot, Navarro. We can still we can cut that out, you know, and that's a clip right there. Just talking about this, but the new title looks good. Terrible idea. NXT,
and terrible timing. Terrible timing is, I think, the big part of it. Do it after Roman loses the belt. Ugh.
Yeah. Eric, producer boy, I'm sorry, if you will. Whoever wins the titles the face, they want to beat the best, which is Roman, the be fighting champ, blah, blah, blah. And they force the match to beat Roman. But that, that's still shitty. That's still bad. That's still saying this belt does not fucking matter.
Yep.
And that's still, again, pointless. And that brings the idea of maybe Roman holding 3 belts that only count as 2 titles. And it's not good. None of this is good. There, good things will come from this. Like I said, Seth is the only person who deserves to hold that title.
I agree.
Because if Cody wins it, then that's solidifying like every aspect of the consolation prize is 100% true. If Cody wins it, Cody has to be the guy to beat Roman at this point now. So if you give it to Seth, he will have the best matches of the fucking year, at least for WWE, defending that title, and it'll be amazing. And like that's the only way I'll warm up to this is Seth holding it for like 8 months and putting on the best matches you've ever fucking seen in WWE. Again, every time I say the best match, I'm just gonna. It's under the umbrella of WWE. That's the only way that the good stuff will come out of this. Because if a guy like if Karrion Kross wins this is a joke title. If Bobby wins it, it's fine. But like, have Bobby go after Roman. That's a match we haven't seen in this title run. Why have we not seen that? It doesn't make any sense. Like if Austin Theory wins it, then this is legitimately a joke title. Like this is beneath the international title by far, and beneath the TNT title, and beneath the Intercontinental title and the US title, above the 24/7 title. But it would be a joke if you won it, and it's like. I feel like it's almost like a good side effect of this is that someone can successfully cash in Money in the Bank this year, but that'll feel a lot less special now.
Yep.
Like it's.
I will say, producer boy did bring up a good point here. Seth has to win it because he's the only person who hasn't lost to Roman.
Yeah.
So it would make sense in a weird way. I actually agree with that.
On Raw. That's the thing. Triple H did a terrible job announcing this title, by the way, because he's the one who made it the most on the consolation prize. When Seth cut his promo later in the show, he did a phenomenal job of making it seem like this title actually meant something. So yeah, you have to put it on Seth because he fucking cares, and even though he knows this consolation prize, he believes otherwise, and he will convince himself otherwise, and then in turn convince that no one will work harder than Seth Rollins to make it feel like that title isn't a consolation prize. No one else deserves it more. Cody doesn't deserve it because he should be beating Roman. But
there is one other guy that I wouldn't mind winning it, but I would like to just preface it should still be Seth number 1. And that's Drew. Drew.
Not Drew right now, though.
No. I think Drew could be heated up to it, but I would like to see Drew with the title again. And I know he's not going to beat Roman, so in my mind, let him go after that title.
See, I was thinking of Drew as one of the guys where it feels like more like a consolation prize.
Oh, yeah. No, there is nobody that it's not a consolation prize. Seth is the only one who could salvage it, I think.
And Xavier Woods, because he also didn't lose to Roman. But,
long-term storyteller. You are correct.
There we go. And then we complete the trifecta of the New Day winning world titles, and then Brock Lesnar can win his next world title. It's all coming together.
I gotta ask, do we know if this is gonna have the same lineage as the World Heavyweight Championship, or is this a new?
They didn't answer any questions. They made everything so confusing. But anyway, what happened in the main event? I don't want to talk about it, but what happened in the main event?
No, we should. So in the main event, we saw the Butcher and the Blade taking on the Elites, Kenny Omega, and junior member Takeshita. It was a fine match. It was a good match. Kenny and Takeshita do have a history of teaming together, both in AEW. A lot of people forget that, and in Japan. And fine match, back and forth. Wow, in the year of our Lord 2023, Butcher and Blade main evented Dynamite. Oh, I should say Bryan Danielson was on commentary for the main event here.
Oh,
And
that's a really good tweet that producer
yeah,
put out.
and it's something that is very important. It's something that's very, very important. So let's just get through it. Kenny and Takeshita won the match. Takeshita getting the pinfall victory using his running knee. Jay probably not here, but he would say Braun Breaker for the title. Yeah, never forget.
I mean,
Takeshita,
it wouldn't feel like a consolation prize, I guess, if Braun Breaker won it.
Takeshita getting the pin, getting the 1-2-3 after hitting a running knee on, I don't remember if it was Butcher or Blade. I think it was Blade. I think it was Blade. But getting the pin, and then Bryan interrupts and says, I see a, what did he say? I see a promising professional wrestler with a bright future ahead of him who got the win, and a tired old whatever guy who is resting on his laurels and looks like he can't keep up anymore. I'll let you guys decide and figure out who he's speaking about and who's who, but this led to a surprise beatdown from the rest of the BCC as Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta came out and jumped the two men from behind. This brought out the Young Bucks, who super kick Claudio, who super kick Yuta, and leaves Kenny and Moxley in the ring where Kenny gets the upper hand. The Bucks join him. They hold Moxley in place as Kenny is about to hit him with the screwdriver of death when Bryan Danielson convinces Takeshita to save Moxley. After he interferes and allows the BCC to once again get the upper hand, Bryan offers Takeshita an opportunity to use the screwdriver on Kenny. When he doesn't, the BCC then jump him, beat him down, and Moxley makes Takeshita bleed with the screwdriver before leaving. The Elite are then cradling Takeshita's broken, bloody body, and we go off air. After 10 o'clock, I would like to say. They hit 10:02, and I'm very grateful for it. I was terrified they were going to run out of time. So I'm glad that they took the 2-minute overflow. I thought the match was fine. I think the story here was what happened afterwards, and I think we're inching closer and closer to the eventual Takeshita betrayal. What do you think, Danny? What did you think of the match? What did you think of the story?
Yeah, Bryan did fumble with the mic, but it's fine. But
he fumbled, but I thought he recovered very well.
Yeah, like no one is gonna remember it. But Bryan was fantastic on commentary. Good night for guest commentary. In wrestling. So good stuff. I didn't care about the match at all. Wire Butcher and Blade on Dynamite, let alone main event in 2023. I thought we've progressed past that sort of thing. But the post-match stuff was interesting. I'm super into it. I have a couple of pet peeves with this feud that I don't like, but it's just going to make me sound like a quote-unquote hater. And I dispute and dismiss that because calling someone a hater does not negate criticism. But in my case, it's more like being like, it is a pet peeve that I don't like. I have this sinking feeling. I don't want the Elite to win this. And not like the way I normally bust balls with the Elite and joke about it, but like, I'm going to be upset if they win this. I want Bryan to win a match, a big match, a pay-per-view match, something. And I just feel like the Blackpool Combat Club are cooler, bigger, better group than the Elite are currently.
Can I play devil's advocate a little bit?
Good try, sure.
I think Bryan is going to win the one-on-one match against Kenny.
You said that, yeah. I said that 2 weeks ago or something.
Yeah, I think he's going to get the one-on-one win.
Oh, wait, I'm so sorry. I don't want to cut you off, but just because Producer Boy said something. Bryan did say that Kenny was a cancer in the locker room. So, I don't know
Maybe.
about secret leader, but definitely a secret member.
I do think Punk would fit with that group. I think he would fit better with FTR, but I do think he would fit with the Blackpool Combat Club. And I think
I just want him and Brian to interact. So.
Yeah, right. I also think it sends a good message to the locker room. I'm saying out of kayfabe here, if he and Moxley are seen working together and coexisting. I think that sends a very good message to everybody backstage.
Yeah,
but
they do seem like the two that can easily put the shit aside and be like, okay, whatever, bro. We disagreed. It's fine.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree completely. But taking the Punk out of it, I see Brian getting the big one-on-one win against Kenny. And I think he gets it via cheating. I think that's when we see Takeshita betray Kenny and the Elite and Don as well, leaving the Elite and Kenny. So I think Brian will get his big one-on-one win. The thing to remember for me, and look, I'm wearing a BCC shirt right now. The BCC as a group hasn't lost anything.
I'm wearing like a generic graphic tee.
I mean, you're wearing you're wearing the denim. You're rocking OC tonight. I respect it. But the BCC hasn't lost a group match, I think. I don't think the BCC have lost as a team. Not tag team matches, maybe. But I don't think they've lost as a unit, as a group. So
I mean, when they teamed with Kingston, they lost the Anarchy in the Arena match.
Did they?
The Jericho Appreciation Society.
Well, I mean, all signs are pointing to that maybe happening again. But all right, so I take that back then. But the group themselves have felt very dominant. So them losing a feud isn't going to do much to hurt them in my eyes, especially if you do have Brian beating Kenny and you have maybe Claudio and I guess Yuta. No, it would be Claudio and Moxley beating the Bucks. But I think there's more into, especially because of who's potentially on the board here. A reunited Elite with Hangman. An Elite that has a debuting Kota Ibushi. I think that's a very powerful group that shouldn't lose. And I think the BCC are strong enough to take that loss without it feeling cheap in any way. And again, all of that is dependent on them winning the individual smaller matches, the singles matches, the tag matches. So maybe I'm trying to find a way to have like everybody look like a winner here, but I think it's doable. I really do think it's doable, and I hope that Tony books this the way it should be booked, or at least the way I want them to book it.
Yeah. I didn't like the Bucks coming out like they were tough guys and laying out Claudio and Yuta when they're a bunch of little bitches, but you know, that's fine. But like I'm more looking forward to the matches themselves because I know I'll really enjoy them.
Yeah.
I just am already prepared to go on a rant about how the wrong people won, and that's fine. I'll see you there, and you know you'll say more or less what you said here, and I'll say random stuff that I think of on the spot. I'll attack your character, which is a fallacy, but you know that's how you win arguments on the internet.
It's true. It's true. You make me believe it.
Yeah, there we go. That's how you do it. But it was a show. It definitely happened. We could not stop it. We didn't try to stop it though. So actually, maybe we could have stopped it, but we don't know until you try. But I would just like to say that I was on my way home from work tonight, and at 125th Street, they evacuated the 5 train because someone threw a shopping cart onto the tracks, and you know it was kind of annoying. And then like we have to shut the power on the train. I was like, okay. And then they turned the power back on, and the train just left. It never let people back on. It just left the station. And then the 4 came, and then the 4, you know, opened up, let people on, and then left just fine. It's like, why couldn't we get back on that 5 train? Why'd I have to wait for another 5 train? Then why did that 5 train stop at the concourse? And it's like, you could take a 2 or you can take a 4. But it's like, bro, the 4 doesn't go the same route as the 5 at that point from there on out. And if the 2s, which does go in the same route, why does the 5 have to stop? Why? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. It was fucking stupid. I was gonna say a bad word there.
I'm just gonna blame Mayor Adams. It feels like the right thing to do.
Who?
Yeah, I don't like that guy.
I don't know. Whatever, man. He's no Mayor McCheese, but what did you think of? What did you think of the New York City subway system, and what did you think of the show?
I will take the subway over taking the bus any day, every day, and twice 100%. On Sunday. But I am very happy to drive everywhere I go to. And what did I think of the show? I thought the show was good. I thought it was good. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't bad in any way. It was good. It was enjoyable, and I will remember some of it next week.
Yeah, good way to put it. And yeah, no, look, all right, we do kind of still have the best public transportation in the country, despite all of its flaws. I wouldn't want to take public transportation in Chicago or California. So, like, I mean, maybe I'd want to take it in Florida because I wouldn't mind sharing like a bus with a crocodile, But other than that, it's just stupid, bro. Yeah, we all feel it, but you're gonna do it. Like, you're gonna take the train again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it is. I'm not driving to Manhattan. That's ridiculous. As the train cannot be bad enough for me to want to drive to Manhattan. I don't mind it because usually when I'm going to Manhattan, I'm driving someone who has something to do in Manhattan. Like, I'll take my girlfriend. So I don't mind sitting in the car driving. The problem with driving in Manhattan is parking in Manhattan. So I don't mind driving, but if I was doing it by myself trying to find a spot, I would just cry. Okay, if you're driving to something, but like, I wouldn't drive to work in Manhattan. Yeah. Like, the only time I do is like for concerts because it's already later, so you're avoiding a lot of traffic. Yeah. And it's a lot quicker in those cases. But anyway, I don't want to ramble on too long. If you're still here, I mean, that's on you. So we're clearly done with the show. We're talking about life in cities like New York, another place. Yeah, no. MTA fucking sucks, and I know I'm hypocritically complaining about it on the internet on a podcast, but like, I wouldn't tweet about it anymore, like, because I'm not like 16 or anything, and I just don't think it makes a difference. But I'm just making small talk with you as we wind down and go off the air because Rev isn't here to fucking try to censor us and keep us on track. Like, fucking, what a dork!
We're not gonna take it anymore. We're not gonna take it.
You know what? We put people in 5-minute timeouts in the chat sometimes. We put Rev in a 3-week timeout. All right, so
it's happening anyway. We're being censored regardless.
Subscribe or not? If you want, bro. We have stuff,
What?
Awful. All right, guys.